coming stretchers from Parliament one by one, and they're being treated out there in the open. We've seen at least 7 casualties brought out into the ambulances. We saw a man in a wheelchair who was being given oxygen, another man on a stretcher who seemed to be given CPR. I did manage to speak to a junior doctor who, seeing the commotion from her office at St Thomas's, which overlooks the bridge, came down and rushed in and treated a man with a very serious head injury. She told us he also had rib injuries and he had what seemed to be a slash wound on his leg. She told us that he'd been taken to King's Hospital and that several of the casualties were being taken there. We've seen walking wounded being taken into the Marriott Hotel, and we're told that that's the triage centre. People with varying degrees of injuries are being treated there, and other people are being brought over, escorted over the bridge by police. Those people have been escorted away. They're not needing medical treatment. There was a woman with a baby. I managed to shout to her and ask her if she was okay. She told me she had been caught up in the melee, as she called it. She said that she was okay. She looked quite tearful. Another man came over. We spoke to him. He didn't want to talk to us on camera, but again, looking very shocked and very tearful. And as you can see, people are still being treated behind me, Mary. As you say, it's an ongoing situation.
Ronki, thank you very much indeed. We can bring you now the latest from Scotland Yard. Commander B.J. Harrington of the Metropolitan Police has just made this statement.
Since 2:40 this afternoon, the MPS has responded to an incident in the area of Parliament Square, and the Senior National Coordinator has declared this a terrorist incident. And although we remain open-minded to the motive, a full counter-terrorism investigation is already underway. This is led by the Met's Counter-Terrorism Command. At this stage, I will confirm what we know has happened, but I will not speculate. We received a number of different reports, which included a person in the river, a car in collision with pedestrians, and a man armed with a knife. Officers were already in that location as part of routine policing, but immediately additional officers were sent to the scene, and that included firearms officers. We are working closely with the London Ambulance Service and the London Fire Brigade. I'd like to repeat our request for the public to avoid the following areas: Parliament Square, Whitehall, Westminster Bridge, Lambeth Bridge, Victoria Street up to the junction with Broadway, and the Victoria Embankment up to Embankment Tube Station. This is to allow emergency services to deal with this ongoing incident. There is an ongoing investigation being led by the Counter-Terrorism Command, and we would ask anybody who has images or film of the incident to pass those to the police. We know there are a number of casualties, including police officers, but at this stage we cannot confirm numbers or the nature of these injuries. Our response will be ongoing for some time, and it is important.
Oh, not like the TV service just crashed.
Until this afternoon. There will be additional officers on duty and deployed across the capital. I would like to ask the public to remain vigilant and let us know if they see anything suspicious that causes them concern, and if they do, to dial 999 immediately. The Acting Commissioner, Craig Mackey, is being treated as a significant witness, as he was at the scene when the incident started.
Live TV.
Whilst he is not injured, it would be inappropriate for him to be here to talk about the incident at this stage. Our thoughts and his thoughts are with all of those involved and responding to that incident this evening. I would stress that if anyone has information about today's incident, they are urged to call 0800 789 321. And I would stress, if the public has any information.
The statement then from Scotland Yard just a few moments ago saying that this is being dealt with as an ongoing incident and the counter-terrorism unit is involved. And Chris, we've got some latest news from Downing Street.
Yes, Julie. Number 10 have confirmed that the Prime Minister will chair a COBRA meeting tonight. It's familiar to us, perhaps rather unfortunately, because that's the emergency committee meeting where they bring together the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary, the heads of counter-terrorism, the heads of MI5 and MI6 as well. So Downing Street have confirmed that the Prime Minister will chair one of those committees tonight. Remember, the Prime Minister was very close to this incident. It happened within the House of Commons, where she has an office, where she just had Prime Minister's questions, and she was seen being bundled into a car and taken back to Downing Street. One further bit of information, Julie, and it appears that Government Minister Tobias Elwood was one of those who gave mouth-to-mouth resuscitation
This is Liverpool for you.
That was injured within the parliamentary estate. And he was seen later with some blood on his hands talking to officers, but he appeared, and it says here that the officer that was stabbed multiple times, and this particular MP, he's a Tory MP and a Foreign Office Minister, tried to give him emergency first aid.
Thank you, Chris, for that. We're also learning on a PA news agency this afternoon that
This happened around an hour and a half ago.
At least 10
It's been
patients
like
on Westminster
half
Bridge
an hour.
itself. So those figures would appear to tally with the assessments that have been made by eyewitnesses at the scene. The Prime Minister, as you just mentioned, Chris, is to chair that meeting of COBRA this evening, and there are parliamentary offices and buildings all making security assessments this afternoon, not least in Scotland too. We're just learning they are reviewing their security at Holyrood this afternoon. We've also heard from the Mayor of London this afternoon, who's extended his sympathies to all those affected, and indeed thanks to all the police who are on the scene dealing with this at the moment. On Westminster Bridge, our security editor, Rohit Katru, you're getting some very vivid and eloquent eyewitnesses describing